Just lollygagging.
I mean, I wasn't paying attention. The people need us, and I was not paying attention.
In the immortal words of our Savior, get up! You're asleep at the wheel.
Yeah, there you go. Jesus, take the wheel, because I wasn't paying attention. Okay, wow. Good morning after a 2-week hiatus. I hope y'all slackers weren't fishing or something last week on Sunday morning services, and you were out at least playing radio.
Fishing for contacts. Man,
Fishing
it was
for contacts.
100 degrees, over 100 degrees here this weekend, and people are still out standing on the banks of a pond fishing for these little tiny fish.
Oh.
Like, why would you do that? I mean, I hope you get dinner out of it at least.
That's a lot of fish to catch. Those are probably bluegill maybe or something. They're small.
Yeah. Just imagine how unhappy your marriage is that you're willing to stand on the bank of a pond and fish in 100-degree weather.
I mean, I like fishing. It's very peaceful, especially if fish don't bother you. You don't really have to do nothing. But dang.
God, she ain't here. Yeah.
I mean, I was at a lake, so it was at least cold water and not pond water, but I don't know. Good morning, everybody. How are yous in the chat?
Chavez needs to ask for forgiveness.
Oh,
there's
Chavez.
a button right next to the chat button that you use to ask for forgiveness, and you actually get a freebie.
How does he get a freebie?
He's got his membership milestone super chat he can send in.
How did you know that?
You can see he's green with the little the 45 RPM to 33 RPM adapter symbol next to him. That's it.
So he has a free super chat. Okay. Yeah. I did not know that. I thought that was just
every member gets one free super chat every month, and it's the 22nd. Do we have another service before the end of the month? Oh, we do. We have one more service.
Yeah, we do. Mm-hmm. So y'all can get your monthly tithes in as appropriate.
Right.
Morning to everybody. I said hi in the chat, but it gets awkward typing hi 400 times. I love you all. So wow. A lot of things going on in the last week or so. I'm still trying to process that it was 107 where Steve is at.
Yeah, that's crazy. I'm in Nebraska, Scotts Bluff.
Which is
y'all are in Scotts Bluff, Nebraska. Say hi.
I mean, Nebraska is like in the salt line, right? You're above the salt line in Nebraska.
So, yes, I'm above the salt line. I'm also west enough in Nebraska to be like dipping my toe into the desert waters.
Maybe so. That yeah.
Euphemism makes sense. And then, I'm still in the plains, so I'm, the last tornado they had was a year ago yesterday. Is it a dry heat? No. So I have that. Like, this is like the dead center of the country, the worst place you could possibly be, and has all kinds of weather stuff.
They think you look extra crispy today.
It's the lighting. Yeah, because it's hot, I put the reflectix up in the windows, so the window in front of me and the window behind me are both gone from the equation. Then I have this door open, so I'm getting window light from the other room, and then I have a light right there that is lighting up this side of my face.
But is the air conditioning working? That's the question.
It is working, and it's actually kind of interesting. So we talk about electricity all the time. Did you all know that circuit breakers they're not digital, they're not binary, they don't trip because you've magically crossed the 30 amp barrier and you're now 31.01 amps. They trip because of heat, because of excessive heat. So my circuit breakers are sitting outside in the sun in 100-degree weather in direct sunlight. I really, my mechanical empathy tripped, and I wanted to get like an umbrella and put it over top of the pedestal so that my breakers would remain cool. Maybe get a little ghetto Florida man fan, sorry Ziggy, and blow warm air over the breakers so they don't trip. And so up until now, and I admit this is absolutely wrong, don't do this, but we're among friends in church here, and I believe I can trust y'all with a secret. I was running 2 air conditioners on a single 30 amp circuit. And that's not supposed to be possible, but I was still able to make it happen somehow. And I think it's just because the demand was like here and the trip level was like here. So I was like pretty close. It was okay. And now with the circuit breaker itself being in the heat, I was tripping the circuit breaker. And this is a weird campground anyway. So it's probably a old worn out circuit breaker, and it's, run by the city of Scotts Bluff. So, it's low bidder kind of stuff.
Oh, the breaker on the pole, not your breaker.
Yeah, my breaker wasn't tripping. I was fine.
Okay.
So I went down. That up. I went down to my favorite local hardware store, Amazon, because they deliver overnight. And I got me a Y cable. So it goes from 50 to 30 on one side of the Y, and then it goes
Mm-hmm.
from 50 to 15 on the other side of the Y. So I have the whole camper plugged into the 30 amp circuit, which runs one air conditioner. And now I have just the other air conditioner itself, and only that air conditioner, plugged into the 50 amp circuit. So I'm pulling 20-ish, well, not even
Mm-hmm.
20. I'm probably pulling 15 amps out of the 30, and I know I'm pulling 10 amps out of the 50 because I have one of these things here. Y'all seen these things here before?
I did a video on that on my channel.
Yeah.
That is
So,
magical.
yeah, so real quick for Ham Till It Hurts question, I am not using soft starts.
You
That is
should
a
be.
video coming up when I'm going to install it. It's sitting in a box right over
You're
there.
welcome.
Yeah. But this thing here, if you use a clamp-on meter, which I have a clamp-on meter here, let me show you so you all don't think I'm talking about some crazy toy or something.
Now, what's
One of
the
these guys.
rating on your line splitter, which is what
It
that dingus is
says,
called?
yes, max 15 amps,
Yeah,
which
mine
is all I
too.
can technically pull out of that circuit anyway. And this thing was getting hot yesterday because it was sitting in the sun. And this is a weird one because it's a times 10 measurement. I don't know how they do that, but it's a times 10 measurement. So when you are measuring current through wire and you have a bundle of wire called a cable, there's positive going this way and neutral going this way on AC, or positive going this way and negative going this way on DC, and they cancel each other out. You send 10 amps out, you send 10 amps back, you get 0 amps at the measurement. So this splits the lines for
Mm-hmm.
you. It's got a regular plug on one end, and it's got a regular receptacle on the other end, and then you take your clamp meter and you clamp it on, and now you can just read that one side.
Yep.
And
And you
so I'm
have to
pulling,
read one side. I did that with a danger plug originally when I first tested one of those. I think I did a video on it, and I made a danger cord, which is basically I stripped off the insulation
Mhm.
of the cable and just had it where I could separate the 3 wires to clamp on. I didn't know about that thing at the time. I mean, it's not dangerous. The wires are still insulated, but
they're
you know,
insulated. Yeah.
but you know, a little bit of danger for science is okay. Yeah, those things, the only ones I've ever seen are like 15 amp rated, which is what most common household circuits are, is 15 amps. 20 amp I think is more common in the kitchen or for a fridge, but
Well,
like
you can
everything,
tell that this
the
is,
plug. Yep.
yeah, this is what a 15 amp receptacle looks like, and a 20 amp receptacle will have a sideways dog leg. So you can still plug this, plug into this thing, but then you also have one where one of these spades is turned sideways and won't go in unless you have
Yep.
that extra dog leg off to the side.
Yep.
That's the visual way of telling 15 versus 20.
Kurt Collins, thank you very much for the $2
Thank you,
super
Kurt.
chat. Appreciate it, brother. Yeah, electricity is interesting, fun, and slightly dangerous at any given time. It just depends on what day it is. Speaking of, T.O. was showing his clamp meter. I haven't done a video on this yet, so you guys are getting like a free view. But this is a current probe for an oscilloscope. So you can directly measure current off of a scope. An O-scope out of the box, okay, I don't need instructions anyway. Go away. An O-scope out of the box will only do voltage. It does amplitude and frequency.
Time, yeah.
Yeah, over time. So you can't directly measure current with an oscilloscope unless you either make your own setup, which you can do by putting some resistors in the circuit, a known resistance value, and then do the calculations from there. Because most scopes will tell you what the RMS and peak-to-peak is. If you have peak-to-peak, you can derive RMS. Once you have RMS and your known load, then you can get your current off of a given voltage. But this takes care of all that business for you. And this works just like the one T.O. has. Now, I haven't even tested it yet. I just got it the other day, and but this is a fairly common model on Amazon. This is about $60. So yes, and this way I don't have to build a test rig to just get current out of something. Plus, which I think this has a pretty low current range as well, so it'll work for smaller circuits and stuff.
Brother Marvin has reached out to you.
Marvin, thank you, brother. Appreciate it. Let's see. JamScan was asking, do they make DC AC units? That sounds like a
They
band.
they do, and it gets really confusing when you start. So I love the fact that the air conditioning people don't intermingle with the electrical people. So there is AC alternating current, and there is AC air conditioning. That's part one. Now there is inverter when you're talking about taking DC and turning it into AC alternating current, and there is inverter when you're talking about the AC technology that makes the fan infinitely variable speeds instead of just two speeds. So, and the compressor is also variable speed. So like they've conflated terms of AC and inverter, and the two are not the four. The two by two are not the same, and it's very confusing, especially when you're having a conversation with someone who knows both worlds as you would have to in order to install those things. It's crazy.
Well, and to Steve's point, he nailed it on that, because I have a friend who is a HVAC technician, plumber, and runs his own company, and has been doing his own company, which is very successful, for 30 plus years. And when I first found out about soft start kits, I said, Frank, I want to get a soft start kit. Can you put that in? He's like, I've never heard of that. I don't know what that is. You mean a hard start? You don't need a hard start in that air conditioner. No, Frank, a soft start. Never had heard of it, because he's more of the HVAC side than the electrical side. I mean, he has guys that do electrical for him, but Frank is not an electrical guy. Frank's an HVAC man. But it's interesting. And they make those things, and apparently you have some, Steve,
I have one, yeah.
for your air conditioners.
Now, if both air conditioners are running at the exact same time and they both go into demand cycle at the exact same time, I think I'm still going to have a problem.
Not after you get the soft start in, because that's going to
Well,
reduce the load on the thing anyway.
So mine pulls 10 amps when it's running, when the compressor's running and it's putting out cold air. You're saying that the soft start is going to reduce that 10 amps down?
Yes.
Out.
Because through witchcraft, I think. I'm
So
not
it's kind
smart
of
enough.
like RF.
It is. Well, so, I got to find the picture. But remember when I put the thing in,
Yeah.
I took some snapshots of current running prior, and I don't remember the exact numbers, but right now I'm running about 8.9 amps with my 3-ton unit running. I think it's a 3-ton, 2.5 or 3. I'm pulling 8.9 amps live current, and my start peak was 31. That has gone down. These are old measurements from like a
John's
month
got
or
it
so
right.
ago.
It's a big capacitor.
8.7.
Well, it's a capacitor on the capacitor.
8.7 running amps. And when I started, I used my clamp meter, because I have one with inrush on it. And my initial inrush was something like 110 amps, and my initial running current was about 13 or 14 amps. And so I have dropped 30-ish% on running current and 70% something on startup on inrush.
Yeah,
So it has made a difference in the running current.
Yeah. So inrush is something that we have to deal with radio too. So there's crossover here. Like bring the eyes back down. Don't let them roll back too much. But so what happens on your typical air conditioner that's old fashioned back when men were men? I guess you can't say that anymore. Sorry, guys. You would start the fan on high. You'd start the compressor on high, all at the exact same time. Bam! 45 amps just hits you hard in the back. And then all of a sudden everything settles out and you've got 10 amps worth of run speed, because now the compressor is now spinning and you don't have to pay the cost to spin it, and the fan is now spinning, you have to pay the cost to get it spinning. So you're just keeping it at idle. And so the soft start is supposed to start the fan on low and
Andy,
then ramp
see
it
you,
up
buddy.
to high, and then start the compressor on whatever it starts on later. So instead of having all 3 or 4 things kick in at once, you just have, 1, then 2, then 3.
Yeah.
So,
And that's what it does. And Arnold, I don't know. That's more
power
witchcraft.
factor, I'm not smart enough to know about power
Yeah.
factor.
I vaguely have heard the term, and I probably read something on it, but I'm not smart enough to remember it for sure.
Yeah.
And I'm getting the data out of the soft start. So I'm at the mercy of whatever it's telling me.
You just proved me right on something that I was thinking. I was thinking that an air conditioning compressor, once you get to like 1 horsepower on the compressor, it doesn't matter how many BTUs you're putting out. 1 horsepower will get you, I'm making up a stupid number, 800,000 BTU, because my air conditioner pulls 10 amps
Yeah.
and it's 15,000 BTU. And you said your air conditioner pulls 10 amps and it's 36,000 BTU.
Yes.
So
the inrush is and generally, and correct me if I'm wrong, I think I saw this comment in the chat. And now Lee is disagreeing with me. Lee, I'm going by empirical data here, QED. The soft start app could be completely lying to me, but I know what it was. I know what it was before I put the soft start in because I took all the measurements, and I know what the soft start app is now telling me during runtime. It's got Bluetooth, but you have to be like right there by it to get the data. QED, 12.3 versus 8.7. That's lower. It could be bullshit. I don't know, but that's what it's telling me.
You could also be putting out less coolant because of some drag that the soft starter is, less cooling because of some drag that the soft starter is giving you.
I haven't noticed that.
Well, again, once you reach certain levels of cooling, you can't cool much more.
Yeah.
Then you need to turn around and start heating again.
I think the other thing, and several people have said this, John just said it, I think the soft start sequences, and I apparently am correct on that, it sequences the fan and the compressor startup also, so they don't both
that was my explanation. Yeah.
Bam in there at the same time. Yeah. That seems to be
Back
borne
when I was
out
talking
by...
and you weren't paying attention.
I was reading the comments from the people, but that seems to be borne out by several other people. So I don't know. Tony said the caps pulse to offset high power output.
Yep. So there is a ginormous soda can sized capacitor inside of your air conditioner. And it would not hurt for you, being a ham and knowing a little bit about this and a little bit about that, to have a spare capacitor. That's like the number one complaint of my air conditioner ain't running anymore. And they just go in and they replace the capacitor. And like I said, it's about a soda can size thing. Be safe because it's holding voltage. But those things do go bad over time, especially since they're in demand and they're sitting in the direct sun all the time. And forced to cool you while they sit outside in the heat.
You can get replacement caps on Amazon all day. There's a rating on your cap. There's 2 different microfarad ratings. So get one that meets or exceeds that rating, and you're golden. There's even a fancy one, and normally they're about $15. I mean, they're nothing. I have spares here for my air conditioner. And there also is a fancy one, which I did not buy, and it's about $30. And it has multiple terminals on it that supports different ratings. So if you have, and I'm making up numbers because I can't remember what they are exactly at the moment, but if you have a 515 cap in your air conditioner now, you could buy this multi-dingus, and it would work in yours with 515 or mine with 720 or whatever. So, but it's either way, it's a cheap piece of PM. It's got 3 or 4 terminals on it. It takes 30 minutes, and most of that is taking the cover off, pulling the power to the compressor, taking the cover off, and unscrewing the old cap, throwing it away, and putting the wires back on. It's really nothing to it. And there's 100 videos on YouTube about doing that. And if you call the AC people to do it, you're looking at $300-400 for them to come out and do a 30-minute, $20 job. So
this previous Thursday's video on my RV channel was about installing that second air conditioner. And I had some help from other Andy, and I had some help from Iowa Hank, and they were fantastic and crucial, pivotal to getting that install done. And before the install, I could only get a 11-degree temperature spread. So if it was 99 degrees outside, it's 88 degrees inside. And yesterday I saw a 24-degree temperature spread running both air conditioners. So
yeah, I'm not surprised.
Very necessary. It was, 90, 99 outside and 74 inside, or whatever the math is. I did math on a calculator off stream, so it checks out.
Jason nailed that one.
Yes.
That's exactly right. Or on a Sunday afternoon on a holiday weekend. Yeah, I guarantee you. And the bonus to using a soft start on your AC, and several people have mentioned this as well, if you have a generator set up or a big battery, one of those big house backup size batteries, like a 4,000 watt or bigger house battery. With the soft start, you can start a lot of air conditioners on battery, or certainly a smaller generator.
Yeah.
I have a 4K LP gas generator. I haven't got wired in yet, but my air conditioner's pulling about 3,000 watts on startup. So I could literally turn all the crap off in here and fire the AC up, cool it down.
So I have to interrupt this real quick. I just saw Elodie sneak into the back row in the congregation there.
Oh, she's sitting in the Baptist chairs, way back in the back. Elodie, good morning.
So Jim was talking about running air conditioners off of batteries. Be very careful when you do this, because batteries, our typical batteries in the ham radio space are 12 volts. And if you get a 12 volt 100 amp hour battery, the max it can deliver is 100 amps before it starts to get really crazy. And your 12 volt to 120 volt converter is going to be around 3,000 watts. That's 200 and math on camera, 260 amps of delivery. So you're going to need 300 amp hour batteries wired up correctly with appropriate thickness of cable to run that. It's actually better. And Will Prowse has a video on a solar generator hand truck deal where he's got one of those
That's a nice
48
one.
volt. He's got one of those 48 volt server rack batteries, and he's plugged it into an all-in-one inverter charge controller thing. And that's like super cheap. And because it's 48 volts, you don't need to have thick cable. You need to have, you can have thinner cable. And so much better. The higher the voltage at the same number of amps requires less cable than lower voltage at the same number of amps.
And there are guides all over the internet, published guides.
Read them to the letter, size up a bit for safety.
Yeah.
But
what I think the standard is like 20% overhead kind of thing.
Yeah. If I was going to run my air conditioner off of my inverter, my 3,000 watt inverter, it's double aught cable or 4 aught cable. I'd have to look it up again, but it's monster thick cable, and it's super ridiculously expensive. It's actually cheaper to buy the DC to DC converters to go from 48 volts down to 12 volts to power the rest of the RV than it is to go from 12 volts to 120 volts to power just the air conditioner.
Right. And some of the, and when I was talking about that, I wasn't even talking about the setup you're talking about, which you can do, and that's a good bit more complicated. But some of those solar generators, the bigger ones, like I got that one from you, that Afery, but I bought the big Afery.
Yeah.
And it actually has a 30 amp trailer hookup on it. So if you have a lockout switch on your house, you will have a 30 amp or 50 amp potentially trailer hookup. You would need the splitter cable like Steve's talking about. But yes, you could do that way. And again, it depends on a lot of factors, and you definitely need a soft start on your AC unless you're going to have a 12,000, 15,000 kW generator. But my goal is to be able to potentially run the air conditioner off the generator if I need to, and other than that, the generator is going to be used to recharge solar generators, which will power fans and lights and internet and all that kind of crap.
So this is that Y cable that I was talking about.
Yep.
And so it's 50 on the bottom here with the 4 poles. And so this is actually 240 volts and the entire connector, but it's 120 volts on this one. It's 120 volts on that one. It is ground neutral on this one. I forget.
Yes.
So two hots and a neutral plus ground. And then that switches out to, this is 240 volts. This is 120 volts, 30 amps. And it's hot, neutral, ground. And then this one is 15 amps, 120 volts, hot, neutral, ground.
And those things are all over Amazon as well. And you can see Steve eats his own dog food there. So.
Oh yeah, I needed this.
But there's a lot of variations you can do, and the biggest thing is, and Steve is absolutely correct, watch Will Prowse's channel, because he knows way more about this kind of stuff than either one of us.
I don't know how he can get 2 million subscribers on something that
as dry as batteries and electricity. Yeah. I don't know, but wire size is key. I have a 3,000 watt inverter. I haven't even ever hooked it up because I need to buy the right cables for it. I couldn't pull 3,000 watts out of that thing right now if I had to, because I don't have the proper cabling. So, anyway, I didn't know this was going to be the electrical show this morning, but
Well, you said we were going to talk about stuff,
yeah,
electricity stuff.
we're talking about stuff, and electricity is something we all use.
Just talking about stuff. Let me get this one here. This is the current pedestal setup in the RV scenario that I'm in right now, and this right here is a 20 amp. You can tell by that extra dog leg we were talking about
Yep.
earlier, and it's a GFI, a ground fault circuit interrupter, ground fault interrupter. And this
GFCI.
is
Yeah.
yeah. Well, it depends on who you're talking to. If it's a GFCI or a GFI. In the 90s, it was a GFCI, and this
That's
is
what I've
designed
always
so that
called them.
when you toss your hair dryer in the bathtub, because I don't know how many times I've been taking a shower or taking a bath and needed to dry my hair right at that exact moment.
Right.
It'll shut off. And then this is the 30 amp, and then next to it is the 50 amp. So there's 50 amp 240 run to the pedestal, which is what this whole gray box is called. And I don't think there's a 100 amp run. I think you have 50 amps and 30 amps or something like that, but I don't know what the other side of this pedestal looks like. But what I'm saying is I don't think there's 100 amps, 120 volts in this panel, or maybe there's more. But, exercise for a different day. This yellow cord is that one that I just showed you. Down here is where that clamp on meter goes, and then this yellow cord here runs through a door into the RV to power that new air conditioner unit. And no, Hank, I haven't replaced the end on it yet because I need to figure out how I'm getting it through the RV still. But this is what's keeping me alive and cool right now. And I could take this 30 amp plug and plug it in here, but I wanted to distribute the load a little bit better because of having this thing being in direct sunlight all day. And the reason why it looks like it's in shade now is because that's a flip up lid, and the lid is creating the shade. When the lid's down, the lid's in direct sunlight. Me too, Robert.
Elodie, I think that's who you were asking about. She was asking for a link to the channel. That's Will Prowse.
Yeah.
Kid is smart, or else he's a mad scientist and he's hiding his mental problems well, because he seems to certainly know what he's doing. I think he might be potentially kind of crazy because he cuts open LiFePO batteries and then I'm not risk averse. I'm a good bit of a cowboy, but I don't know about cutting into a LiFePO battery. I'm just saying. And he takes his oscillating tool and just okay. So anyway,
Aloysius wants to talk about radio. I don't know if we'll allow it.
Aloysius, what do you think this is? A show about radio? Well, let's talk about radio. Field Day is coming up.
I'm going to be lonely on field day.
I was going to ask you, I have never group participated in Field Day because mostly, like yesterday it was 94 degrees with 92% humidity. The dew point is 81 degrees here. So my will to be outside in the swamp air is about 0.0 any more than I have to. And I'm sure Field Day is going to be like that. So I participate from Field Day in the confines of FEPLabs where there's air conditioning. And, I know my radio's run on a battery, and I've got 3 or 4 antennas from Coffee and Ham radios that all work just fine portable. I've used them before portable, like the Poseidon or the Kronos. This is not a Coffee and Ham Radios ad. This is not Coffee and Ham Radios. And a bunch of you have those antennas, so I don't need to test any of it, and I know it works. And, it's the spirit of getting out there. Okay. Steve, tell us about your ham radio experience for Field Day at your club in Wisconsin.
Oh yeah, my club experience is awesome. They spend a lot of time preparing ahead of time, and then they spend a lot of time setting up antennas and radio stations, and then they make one contact, and then they break for lunch, and they never get back on the radio again. It's a fun day. I just think it's hilarious that the whole purpose was to get on the air and make contacts, and they just don't. I would love to go to a serious contesting club station and work it in, and contesting for numbers and see what we can get with awesome antennas. The Voice of America Radio Club has got a really good setup for that, so that might be something to do.
Yeah, if you're up in the Dayton area, hang out with our buddy Jocelyn, who was super cool.
Yeah, it's in Westchester, but it's super close to Dayton. If you go to Dayton Hamvention, it is worth the drive up there because first off, it's the Voice of America broadcasting station. They removed all the antennas, I want to say in the 2000s, from the Voice of America portion of it and shut down all the broadcasting. But that facility is still there, and that's back when men made their own coax out of tin cans and sweat.
Yeah.
And the whole building is supposed to be built on top of a sheet of copper or something along those lines. And there is a high tower vantage point for, taking care of the bad guys that are going to attack the Voice of America radio station and take it off the air. And then there's the ham radio club that operates, and they have a very awesome, slick, uh, you know, club station with a patch panel for multiple antennas, and every antenna runs to every operating position on the bench and multiple operating positions, and it's pretty cool.
I think the style is why the comments are so huge. That's better. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, Lee sounds like that's a decent setup. Air-conditioned garage and 2 RVs, so y'all can radio from the cold.
Right.
And then somebody mentioned I should just do it at night. That's potentially the thing, but the humidity doesn't go away just because the sun goes down. But I do usually participate in field day a little bit. I don't care about how many contacts I make. To me, that's who cares. And if you do, rock on, because I'm not telling you what you should do. You do you, boo-boo.
We don't should on you here.
Yeah, we do not should. There is no shoulding from on high.
Yeah, you should. We should, though, because it's church.
Right. Well, yeah. You should tithe is what you should do.
By definition.
But like I will talk to the field day people, CQ field day. And I'll do that exchange randomly like I would do POTA. I just hunt around and catch those guys. I give them their number and I move on. And I'm fine with that. I mostly don't, my attention span is not going to sit here at the radio quite that long and CQ field day and keep up with all that. I mean, I log those contacts, but that's my participation in field day. If we had a cool spell, I might potentially put the flex on a battery, sit outside with a laptop, and use the flex on battery while I'm outside. Or I could just put the flex on battery and sit in the air conditioner.
I'm looking up when the Alabama QSO party happens.
See, that's the one I probably need to participate in because Joe Brett actually won Mississippi's, I think.
Well, it's actually super easy to win a QSO party if you're not in the state, because they have different categories for whether you're in state or out of state, whether you're high power, low power, whether you're roving or stationary, blah, 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 blah.
Right.
Contest calendar.
That's what I'm talking about, ADHD. Yeah, it was probably 80 for our overnight low here.
Oh, wow. Sorry, Jim. The Alabama State QSO party is July 26th.
Not happening, Captain.
Sorry.
Well, I mean, I could do a QSO party for, I could do it from here inside. I could flex it.
So I don't know if this is all QSO parties or not, but the Wisconsin State QSO party, the goal is to get a clean sweep of making one contact into every county from your county. And so you trade county names back and forth. And Michael, our friend Michael, KB9VBR, did a roving Wisconsin State QSO party. And this is one of those things where it's like the most awesome thing in the world, but you can't see it. You have to kind of know that it's happening. He's in the car and he's crossing county lines and he's got a fish on the hook. And he's like, stand by, crossing county lines. And the guy knew what that meant. And then I knew what it meant because he's crossing county lines, and I also know what it means from an RF perspective while you're mobile in a vehicle. Like you might lose that contact because propagation rules and all kinds of other stuff. And I'm like, I'm on the edge of my seat going, is he going to make it? Is that guy going to be there? Is this contact going to work? And he got the two back-to-back contacts, the two different counties as he crossed the county line. I'm like, oh, yes. Like the most awesome moment you could ever possibly have in ham radio. And it's like, it's like totally boring to watch. We just watched a guy, go like this in a car. That's it. Like he didn't jump off of a cliff. He's not ripping a parachute out. He's not, high altitude, low opening. He's not, climbing a mountain face without carabiners and hooks and equipment, free climbing, like scuba diving, massive depths without apparatus. He's just like driving an inch farther in the car.
Not like Carlos jumping out of an airplane doing CQ field day from 14,000 feet while he's falling. Elodie, I have not ordered the Flex Aurora, and I think the 520M is like the $12,000 model. That will not be happening. I would love to have one to play with, but I mean, I have a full Flex setup already, so it's just one more radio. It seems cool that it's 500 watts built in, but
I need a live disassembly here.
I need to rein in my buying occasionally. Although
I gotta, Jim.
I gotta admit, if you were watching Coffee and Ham Radio's Thursday night, we had Michael Walker from Flex on, and during the show, while it was happening, I went to Flex's website, and potentially, I think I would have done it if the Aurora had not been like a 3-month delay in getting it.
Yet.
I would have bought one, but it's not available yet. It's
they
like
still haven't gotten their FCC ID, Jim. You know how that story goes.
Yeah.
We can just lie to the public about needing an FCC ID for a ham radio transceiver.
It apparently doesn't matter because they're all over Amazon. But yeah,
there we go. Now I'm into the rant.
Okay, calm down. I mean, that's not on Flex. That's on the FCC and paperwork. But yeah, I would if they had been available, I probably would have gone full stupid and bought one Thursday night. But I didn't because I don't want to wait till September for it.
Look at that.
Now, what is that? Besides,
that.
Oh, your dingus.
Yeah, so that's the ground side, and they tied the ground together, front to back.
Oh, yeah.
And then
the line splitter.
This is why it's 10x. They don't need to do that, but they did that.
Mine is too. Mine is the same thing. I haven't popped it open, but it's still 10x.
So it's So it's 10x on this side because of that coil. And then that coil is still present on the other side. So I don't know how are they doing that? That doesn't make no sense to me. Because if I clamp on this side, I'm clamping both wires. And if I clamp on this side, I'm getting 10x measurement.
I don't know. Maybe Lee could tell us because he's more electrical than either one of us, but...
Yeah. And then there's the insertion point and the exertion point. Yeah, that's not the way I thought that would look inside. Now I'm all confused.
Oh, totally hillbilly. It's only 10K. I don't need but one kidney.
But this thing was getting hot in the sun yesterday.
I was catching up with comments here. I don't want to respond to this because there's a video coming out later today.
Yeah, it's not technically announced to the public unless you're a member, and then you can buy it.
From that guy. No, I have not ordered one yet. I was kind of hoping,
We'll get you one.
Bros.
Well, no, I mean, you still have to pay for it. You just have to pay for it by making a video, by actually using it, demonstrating its use.
Oh, I totally
properties,
will. I totally will.
And then putting it on the air and then sharing with others how they can use it and including a link. Because as you and I both know, there ain't no such thing as a free lunch.
Right. Exactly right. There ain't no such thing. It's on Stoffel, baby. That's right. Doc Brad. Yes, that's true. That is true. I mean, when I bought my 6600, it was like a month I had to wait for the thing. I just think they just do probably a lot of just-in-time production. Thank you for the super chat, Doc.
Thank you, Doc. See, Dave was a smart man. Dave's a member, and he got early access.
Yeah.
And so I ordered quantity 50 to get the thing kick-started, to get it off the ground and running, and we've already sold half of those. So thank you very much to the members, and hopefully there's some left.
Are they in hand yet, or are they in production?
Oh area? No, they're in hand, and several of the folks who have ordered them should be receiving them yesterday and tomorrow. Because
have you sent me one so I could do a video on it?
I have not sent you one yet. I need to get on that.
Chip chop, son. Chip chop. I'm just
chop.
Dave is here, and that reminds me about 4 Days in August, which we want to make a big thing. It was totally Steve's idea. He's been working on this. I'm just here to support and help. I don't want to take any credit for the idea. I'm just here to make it happen. So, Dave, when are you going to be there? Because we kind of have you down to do Meshtastic stuff.
We have told Dave that he must arrive on Wednesday.
And guys, if you're coming to Huntsville, we really want you to, we'd love to know you're coming. We'd love to know that you would like to see some of the stuff we're going to do. Steve has this great idea of anti-forums. It is not going to be Jim standing up and show you how to drive a spectrum analyzer with a bunch of slides and talking. It's going to be forums that are interactive and as hands-on as we can potentially make them. Unfortunately, I will not have 30 spectrum analyzers available for everyone to play with, but and that's an example. But we have a bunch of stuff lined up already.
Yeah, so I got the sheet pulled up here.
Yeah, go ahead, talk about it, sizzle it.
So if you are coming and you are a YouTuber, let me know. This list is not. This is incomplete. We're still doing planning. Friday was our first major planning session. So this is the list of ham radio YouTubers that I know are coming. And so if you are a ham radio YouTuber and you are coming, then please drop me a message on the Toads Discord. And there is a room called Huntsville-FDIA, 4 days in August. These are the activities that we have to be determined when they're going to be delivered and where and how and who. But these are some of the ideas that we brainstormed about there. There's going to be a couple of cookouts. There's going to be coffee from, I got to actually put that on the list. Carlos is coming.
Well, I mean, we signed up Carlos for coffee on Saturday morning, I think.
Yeah. And he's actually going to be doing some parachute mobile jumps, so you'll be able to contact him via your handy talkie, or you can use Rob Digital Rancher's Big Yagi and point the beam at him and shoot him out of the sky.
Which would be kind of fun. I plan to be with Carlos on one of those jumps.
So 4 days would technically be Tuesday, but why not get there Monday? Because
you know why it's 4 days in May, right? You know how they got
4 days in
that.
August. You just gave the secret away.
Well, no. I know that. That's not a secret. You said that before. But you know where FDIM came from, because you said it's only 1 day. I don't know why they call it 4 days in May. It's 1 day plus 3 days of Dayton Ham Fest, 4 days.
Oh, they're cheating. Oh, wow.
Yes, I thought you knew that, and then you made that comment, and I never mentioned it again. But I'm like,
so we're better than they are. Okay, so
I mean, we're like 6 days in August,
1
man.
Day. Yeah, if you want to use the FDIM logic
paradigm.
Yeah, we're so much better than they are. So we're actually going to do 4 days worth of activities is the hope and the future plan. And then, we'll take it from there. Maybe it'll become a month of August, month-long thing. So imagine if you went to like a gathering of smart ham radio people, and I'm not saying me, I'm saying the people that are coming, like Jim's going to be there. And actually Lightning Lee is going to be there. That's going to be pretty cool to get to meet Lee in person. Speaking of smart people. And instead of just like having them talk at you, or as happened in my club, having them talk down at you is even worse. We're going to here, touch this thing, do this thing. And I mean like the radio mic, don't wrong show. So we're going to actually do some hands-on activities. And, if you've never done a POTA before and you don't know how to do it, and you've got a little bit of mic fright, we're going to sit there and do it with you. And you'll walk away with your 10 contacts and you'll get your first park on the air. And if you've already done it, then maybe you can show somebody how to do it and get their first contact and get their first park on the air. Mm-hmm. And not all of us are teachers by nature. So, take that, the free help is free help. So I've got Dave down here on Wednesday to give a, Meshtastic presentation. And we haven't figured out what time yet or where, but it's probably going to be at Montesano.
I would guess, yeah. And
Thursday, go ahead.
Mentioning that it's at Montesano.
Yes.
I believe that the pavilion is reserved for us like all week. I'm almost positive that Vern Six told us that last year, that he has nailed it for the entire week.
If not, we'll figure it out.
For the cool kids. Well, and if not, we can do some of this. I mean, I have space at my cabin, so we can just hang out in picnic tables and whatever.
We'll push the bed to the side, and we can all sit inside in air conditioning.
Yeah. Oh,
nice. Depending on how many of us there are. So Thursday, I'm working on Gigaparts. I have a couple of events at Gigaparts scheduled, and we're still in the early planning stages. But they sell 3D printers, so they have plenty of them there. You can buy one, and then we'll help you set it up.
Yep.
And we'll help you do your first print, and we'll help you figure it all out. And then you can take it home with you, and then you know how to set it all up.
Slides for sure.
Yeah. And there's nothing wrong with the forums, but I'm a hands-on learner. I've got a touch of that ADHD crap, and I need to touch stuff and do stuff and connect the dots. And so our buddy Tom from Ham Radio A to Z is going to be there with a crowbar circuit that you can buy, and then you can buy a soldering iron for $20 from Gigaparts, and we will show you how to build it. And he's actually going to do put some fire in the wire explosion demonstration, so you can see it happen. And Jim's got one handy.
If it'll focus. Easy kit to build, and well worth it. If you're running any kind of $40 power supply on your $2,000 radio, You should probably have one of these in line.
Yeah. So the fuse protects from over amperage. The crowbar circuit protects from over voltage. And I have had a Kenwood power supply overvolt. It went 20 volts instead of 13. It lost one of its voltage regulators on the back, and it failed open and sent the power to the radio. I
It's
didn't
a
have
beautiful
anything
little device. Yeah.
plugged in at the time because I was actually testing it. And I'm trying to. Mike's going to do the go bag thing because you can buy the Gigaparts Explorer backpack, and I think Mike has all the parts and all the knowledge, so he'll help out with that. And I'm trying to get them to provide lunch. So if y'all can drop into the
Yeah.
FDIA
We
chat
need to
room
know.
on Toads and give us some numbers, like I'm coming, then we'll know that you're coming, and I can tell
Steve,
them
why
we're
don't
gonna
we
have
do a Google form for signing up for this and push the Google form so we can keep it there? Because I mean, some of
that
these
would be
guys may
great.
not do toads. I mean, Doc Brad doesn't toad. I don't think at all.
He's
Hardly.
he's on there, but he doesn't
He lurks.
partake very often. He's
Right.
more of a pass than a toke
We will
kind of guy.
get a Google form set up and we will publish that. I'll drop it on my community tab here and on my Patreon community tab. Steve will do the same thing on his. I'm signing him up for more work. And I'll post it also in the doodly doo for this video. But we'll get the word out and get
Once
a
we
Google
get it
form.
made. Yeah.
Well, yeah, I can
So
make the form. It's pretty easy, but
Friday is the most polished schedule, and so what I was trying to do is work backwards from the show on Saturday to Monday instead of working forwards from Monday and then having like Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday be completely empty and boring. We're gonna have coffee at campsite 51 Alpha from Carlos, and Carlos owns a coffee plantation in the family. Sweet, that's the whole point. So it's gonna be like ham-grown coffee. And then John is going to have his phased array demo set up.
love the picture, Bricker. That's a great picture.
He's going to have his phased array antenna set up so you can actually get hands-on and hear what happens instead of just see a rainbow bubble of RF on a computer screen somewhere. You can actually like feel the difference between talking to different parts of the country and not hearing other parts of the country. He does not know, but he will know. I will give him a
Not
little
at
bit of a
this
heads up.
time.
Yeah. He always brings plenty though. Carlos
He
is
does.
awesome.
Yeah.
And if you give him a heads up, he can bring some for you.
And Carlos's
Take home.
coffee is primo coffee.
Yeah, it's
It is
actually
very good.
It's actually grown in Puerto Rico, so it's Puerto Rican coffee, which is still part of the United States. So you can still say made in the USA. We're gonna have the POTA at the pavilion from 8 a.m. Basically, whenever you get there, there's going to be somebody there. Even if you got there at 4 a.m., I'm sure there's still going to be some hobo sleeping in the no offense hobo sleeping in the
Don't
pavilion.
talk about AFL that way.
Right.
Or Norm.
Carlos is gonna. Well, no, Norm will be asleep in the woods between the last
or was
drinking
that
spot.
or was that
and
Greg? I can't remember which one of them
I think
it
it
was.
was Norm. Yeah. Carlos is going to be doing parachute jumps. Since Steve is going to be there, he is our volunteer examiner coordinator, and Jim and I are VEs that fall under the boss powers of Steve. We'll be able to get you your license exam if you don't have one, and then get you on the air, or we'll be able to get you upgraded from tech to general and get you on the air, or from general to extra and get you on the air with your extra privileges. And then we're going to have dinner back at 51 Alpha. Miss Renee Six is going to help Steve KO4 AFL cook, and part of that is our friend Danny from the Broken Signal YouTube channel is going to be bringing grass-fed ground beef. So we're going to have some handmade sandwiches
Ham sandwiches?
on Friday. And we're still looking to round out some more activities to get Wednesday filled out. And I would love to get this thing filled out all the way back to Monday, but there will be several people arriving Monday. So like K-Murder's arriving on Monday. The Grouch in New Hampshire is going to be arriving on Monday. We have a couple of people arriving on Tuesday. I keep doing that. I keep trying to highlight it, and it keeps dragging and dropping. The Air Hammer, Lee is going to be there on Tuesday. Jason and Frank are going to be there on Tuesday. I actually don't know when I'm coming in because I have this weird scenario where I don't know where I will be to be departing from. So I don't know what airport to go to fly, but I'm 25 hours away, straight driving, no bathroom breaks to get there. So it's like 2 days worth of driving to get there, and then 2 days worth of driving to get back. And that's without the trailer. It's like 4 days out, 4 days back with the trailer. So I'm parking and then I'm flying and then I'm arriving. And that means I'm coming empty-handed, which again, I've got a touch of that ADHD crap, so I can't just sit there in the hotel room staring at the four walls with nothing to do.
And we'll find stuff to do. I mean, this is what we've got scheduled. We would love to plan, like he said, we'd love to fill that schedule out. I'd love to spend all day at Gigaparts, honestly. And Steve has done a great job. I'm going to puff him. Fluff him. That's the word.
No, puff.
Puff.
Puffing is when you make something sound better than it is. Fluffing, I'm not going to define on air.
I had that definition in the back of my head.
I mean, well, what happens in cabin 13?
Right. What happens in cabin 13 stays in cabin 13. That we got Gigaparts on board, I think, is awesome. And he's still working with them on that. But I think it's a win-win for everybody. And that's why I want to do the Google form. Part of the reason, because we want to know how many people we can expect to see. And the more people that we can tell Gigaparts we feel that there's 300 people coming, the more interest Gigaparts is going to have in this. Because and I know, and I'm not going to lie to you, they want you to come because you're going to spend money there. You could spend money there. And I know also that if you're in Gigaparts, you're going to buy something. Just because you've been to Mecca and you've seen the elephant, you're going to have to buy something. So it's a win-win for Gigaparts. They're letting us use their room, but they also know they're going to have a bunch of nerds in there who want to buy a bunch of stuff. And Gigaparts, just FYI, Steve mentioned 3D printers. They also sell a lot of PC stuff. Yeah,
they do. And they've got a really wicked flight simulator set up and a really wicked racing simulator set up.
Yeah, I want to get in a flight sim. I didn't know that. I never saw that the last time.
If you can't find something to do in that store, you have problems that I can't help you with.
Plenty of 3D printer stuff, lots of filament, all the widgets, gidgets, dinguses, and whatnots for ham radio and for PCs and everything else. It's a nice store. And they've moved to a newer location. If you were ever in the old store, it was pretty small. This is like Sam's Club for tech, pretty much. It's a large store. So it'll be really good. And I'll get that form done this morning and get the word out to everybody and share the link to the form. But yeah, if you're planning on coming to Huntsville, we would love to have you. Steve, we're not charging for this specifically. No. If like Tom's kit, I'm sure Tom will have kits. You'll have to buy the kit.
Yeah.
And you're welcome to sit in on it anyway. We're not giving away kits. And if you're not going to bring tools with you, you may end up buying some tools at Gigaparts. Once again, win-win.
Yeah. And if you know how to solder, then when we're doing the kit building thing, by all means, find somebody to partner up with who doesn't know how to solder and show them some of the ropes. Be kind. I mean, imagine teaching and I'm not being rude at all. Imagine teaching your 4-year-old how to draw the letter S for the first time ever. Like it's difficult if you don't know what you're doing, but it is super easy 10 years of experience down the road to think that it's really easy for someone to learn. So, just take it real easy, take it real quick. Just give them all kinds of grace and room to play and experiment. And you can't mess it up in a way that can't be fixed. Even if you have to buy another kit, I think the kit's under $40. I don't want to give the right price because I don't know what the right price is. Yes, he should be. I just don't know when. And Freddie and I are talking.
Yeah, we'd like to
get... It's not because I've ignored him and don't like him. It's because we haven't finished the information. Dave said he's coming in on Wednesday and we'll be giving a presentation on Wednesday.
Awesome. Dave said Freddie's coming on Wednesday?
No, Dave said Dave is coming on
Dave
Wednesday.
Is coming on Wednesday.
So Hank's getting mad at me. He's being real verbally violent with me in the chat about how I don't have Freddie Mac down on the list of attendees and I don't have him down on what day he's giving his seminar. And I'm trying to put him at ease. I love Freddie. Freddie's awesome. We'll get there.
Yeah, Freddie has gotten to be quite the expert on All-Star. He has embraced All-Star.
Time in the hole, man.
Yeah.
All of us have the capability to be the All-Star, but Freddie's the one that actually put the time in the hole.
He completely embraced it and went full on that. Yeah. So I'm looking forward to this. I'm going to get up there Wednesday. I don't want to, I'm like Steve, I'm not going to sit in my cabin the whole time. I do, and I said this on Coffee and Ham Radios the other night, calm down. I do plan to do a POTA No, I said it on Steve's FDIA planning video
Yeah.
stream Friday night. I'm going to do some POTA. I'm probably going to do some late shift because I stay up late anyway. Can do that. I want to do some POTA action. I seriously doubt that I'm going to bring my radio and sit out at the pavilion and play radio when I can sit in my cabin and do the same thing. But we want to make this an event. And Steve, I meant to ask you this, and I don't mean to put you on the spot on a live stream with 120 of our closest buddies.
I'm used to it.
Have we been able to get some buy-in from Mark and the Huntsville Hamfest people on this?
Oh, for sure. Mark loves us.
Well, I know Mark loves us.
So what Mark has said is we fully support you guys doing whatever it is you want to do up there, and we will gladly put you into the program, but we are not going to tamper with or get involved with. And it's the exact same thing in reverse. I am not going to involve myself and tamper with Huntsville Hamfest itself. We are two adjacent kindred spirits that love each other.
Well, yeah, totally. I just meant like, are they going to put us on their schedule or say there's a bunch of crazy people up on the mountain doing ham stuff?
And it's the same thing with the Orlando Hamcation folks. We do the Toads POTA meetup prior to Orlando Hamcation, and we get into their program as an announcement that we're going to be there. All the Hamfest people support all the Hamfest people, and all the YouTubers support the Hamfest people, and all the Hamfest people support all the YouTubers. And by support, I mean, handshake and help, not massive amounts of donation. I made the mistake of giving an ARL form and saying that the ARL supports what we do, and they're like, "How much money are they giving you?" I'm like, "None." Geez, people.
Yeah, we don't get money; we get love. That's about it. Yeah. Okay. So we're almost out of time. One thing I mentioned in the description: QSL cards. Drop a 1 in the chat if you are a QSL card, physical card person. I would drop a 0. I'm just telling you. Look at that. You even have some, huh?
I designed it myself.
It does look like you designed that yourself, indeed.
But I can loan you halfway decent design.
I can loan you my daughter who has, some artistic talent as well if you'd like some help with that.
You think this isn't good?
I mean, it's minimum flair. Okay.
I made the font all like retro, and it's got this washed out paper look,
It's very functional. What are all the logos on it? All your socials?
Yeah, so it's actually got the Coffee and Ham Radio's logo on it still. So I got to burn through these cards here, and then the ham radio, real-time ham radio from Nuggets, and then Parks on the Air, and then the different social media, and then how to send me a package through the mail, which that's going to die here pretty soon because I'm switching mail companies because Escapee's mail service. Escapee's got bought by Harvest Host. Harvest Host and I don't get along. We can talk about that in a private members only meeting someday. And then Escapee's, they don't know the definition of customer service. And I'm not talking like I'm rude and they're treating me like I'm rude. I'm talking like, hey, you're not doing the job I pay you for.
Yeah.
And then they get mean and nasty with me on top of it. The guy at Escapee's literally told me, we train our new hires that our customers are all idiots and to treat them that way. I'm like, whoa, you did not just say that, bro.
I can't believe he said that.
To a paying customer.
So I don't do QSL cards. First of all, I don't have a whole lot of artistic talent. Thank God for AI, or there'd be even crappier YouTube thumbnails for my videos. I've almost completely embraced AI for this show because I just come up with a weird idea and I have AI draw a cartoon. But I don't do QSL cards, and for several reasons. Number one, I just don't care. What am I going to do with them? And this is my thing. And if you like QSL cards, again, there are no shoulds on this show other than, potentially you should drop an offering to keep bringing this lovely service to you every morning, because potentially if we don't get enough love, we could go away, because we could get called away, you know what I'm saying? But it's like, what am I going to do with them when I get them, right? I don't know. I mean, it's like I'm going to have a giant shoebox of paper that I'm never going to look at again. Am I going to have a wall in a room covered with QSL cards? No, because I live with a human female who is not going to let that happen.
If Jim was single, he'd have QSL cards on every wall and a PDP 11 in every room.
Hell to the yeah! I'd put the QSL cards in the PDP computer room, which would have raised floor. But I'm just like, I'm not going to do anything with them. And guys, if you have sent me a QSL card, I swear that I looked at it, I said thank you in my head, and then I filed it away to be forgotten. You can take that for what it's worth. I don't know. I just don't get it. And somebody mentioned it. I put all my contacts in QRZ, so there you go. You know, and I confirm them. I have my QRZ and Logbook of the World synced up, so that is how I QSL you. And again, if you want to do cards, fine, but I'm just not going to send them. The only exception that I will do, and I'm telling you now, I'm going to make some QSL cards for when I jump out of the airplane.
Nice.
They will
you
be
have like a month.
Yeah, they will be special edition. I have to get on figuring out what's going to be on them, but they will be.
Go stand in front of your green screen with a look on your face like.
You know, that's actually not a bad idea. That's not a bad idea. I was going to have an AI do a cartoon of, you know, my face basically and falling out of an airplane thing, but either way. TC Fitz, thank you, brother. I appreciate it. Service bestows citizenship. Thank you. I don't think I said that quote right, but you know
Service guarantees citizenship.
Service guarantees citizenship. That's right.
On the bounce.
On the bounce. I always thought that was a great phrase. I like that.
Well, I like that, and I like the, it was a land deal when the guy dies because he bought the farm.
Yeah.
It was a land purchase or a real estate deal or something like that.
The land deal, yeah.
The book is awesome.
Yeah, and I've gotten cards. Somebody mentioned this. Cards for FT8. I have like 12,000 contacts, and probably 10,000 of them or more are FT8 times however much it costs to send a postcard. No, not happening. Plus, it's all that writing. If I did QSL cards, I would do computer-generated ones and print them out on a piece of paper or something. But I just don't. And I hope y'all understand that if you've sent me one and never got one back and we're sad about it.
You don't have to partake in every single part of this hobby. I have never pack-toured.
You have never? Oh, you shameless hussy. I haven't either.
Hang on.
I have not either.
This ADHD wants to know, what's the best way to become a paying member of Toads? There isn't actually a way to become a paying member of Toads. The way that you would do it is to support one of the individual YouTube channels that is your favorite, like mine, and become a member there. And there's a join button right below the video, or you can go to patreon.com/temporarily-offline and take it away, Jim. Your turn.
That's the preferred method. We love you. Long time. But there ain't no such thing as a free lunch. Actually, if you are in the Toads Discord, by the power and authority vested in me in the state of Alabama and the power of Flex Radio compels you, you're a member of the Toads Club. Amen. Hallelujah.
Yeah, there are no dues to become a member of K-Toads, Kilo Tango Zero,
Right.
Alpha Delta Sierra, the ham radio club associated with the Toads Discord.
Yeah.
There's 5,000 members because there's no membership dues requirement.
Yep.
But we do have things like the...
Well, you have members-only channels. I think I misunderstood his question.
Yeah. We do have things like the YSF and the D-Star and the DMR repeater node reflector. I was trying to find the right word for it.
Thingy.
Setup that's currently at Jim's house through the benevolent power of air conditioning and electricity and being on the air there. And so that's where some of those membership dues would go. But instead of doing that, you just donate to your favorite channel and we work it all out on the backside.
Q420, I would absolutely take a picture of a QSL check, if you know what I mean. Minimum flare. That's right, Patrick. Or Wayne. Anyway, yeah, I join. That's the only paying thing, is to be a supporting member of one of our channels. And there are private member chats for all of our channels in Toads. So if you are a member or you have joined our channel, please let us know, because it's not really automated, and we'd love to have you in there. And I think we've mentioned this before since we're talking about memberships. If someone hands out gifts memberships during a show like my show or Steve's or Carr or Hayden's or whatever, Those gifted memberships only last 1 month. So if you want to continue your membership, you need to go in and tell it to continue. Otherwise, it will automatically stop.
Yeah.
So,
The people that got free membership on my channel this month from a couple of people that donated those during live streams, they got hooked up big time because they got the pre-release announcement for the Toad's digital interface.
right. And they've already
So
ordered theirs. Yeah.
so our hope with all the stuff that we just talked about is that we hope that we provide enough value to you that some of you are motivated to be able to support us in return. And we know that not everybody can support everything, and there's a lot of things that are vying for your attention. We're happy just to put the information out there,
Yep.
but the membership and the super chats and all that really do help keep us alive and motivated through all the negative comments from the people who don't think that we're providing value and are
Right.
perfectly happy to tell us all about it in the comments.
Constantly. You didn't test this very expensive. Why don't you test a Yaesu radio to prove how good it is? Why don't you buy me a Yaesu radio?
Yeah.
This is not my primary income.
Right. My favorite thing is when they call you out telling you didn't do something that you did do in the video that they just didn't pay enough attention to. Yeah.
That's a good one too. Kelly, thank you for joining. I appreciate it, brother. Woo! If I had the audio set up, we would dance, but I don't think it's actually live. Let's try it. Wrong speaker, but good enough.
I can still hear it.
I can move to that beat.
See you,
Kelly,
Rick.
thank you. Woo!
Thank you, Kelly.
I'm verklempt from that. That came
You're
blasting
sweating
in there. Well, I'm running 2 computers now here. I'm live streaming. We're using the Mac M2 Pro right now is what I'm streaming on. And so I needed a KVM solution, and I found a piece of software called Synergy. So this monitor here is got HDMI to the Mac and DisplayPort to the Windows machine. So I can just flip this to HDMI, and I have the Mac screen. I also have an iPad up here as a second screen on the Mac right now. And then all I got to do with this software, it's loaded on Windows and it's loaded on the Mac, is move my mouse to the edge of the screen, and then it jumps over. It's beautiful.
I love that.
It's working flawlessly. And it was like $50 for the sexy version, lifetime license, I think. I don't think it's an annual fee. But I'm hitting the volume control on that loud music that was playing in Windows because the Stream Deck dingus is still plugged into Windows. And the volume is controlling the Mac's volume. It's not controlling the Windows machine. I'm like, oh, well, it's going to be loud. Sorry. Anyway, but yeah, I like doing this. And I like interacting with you guys, and I love meeting you guys at, the conventions and stuff. Bricker, I mean, I really like your dog. That gains you 3 dB right there because Atlas is super cool, I'm just saying.
The floof.
The floof dog, that's right. It's kind of why we like Jason, because he brings Electra, and she's super cool. I don't know. We
tolerate Jason. We like Electra.
We tolerate Jason because of his awesome dog. But anyway. Guys, I think we're going to wrap it up. Steve, do you got anything? What's coming up with you this week?
So Hayden and I are doing the announcement later today for the Toad's digital interface. So be sure y'all are tuned in for that. We'll release the gates on where you can get it from to the public, and hopefully we'll have enough left. Hayden's going to handle a couple of different countries in shipping because he's got a couple of different countries of shipping ease under his belt, and I'm going to handle a couple of different countries of shipping here because I have a couple of those. I have sent some to Canada, and even though we have that North American free trade agreement nonsense from the 90s, they still want to charge stupid shipping and a customs form and so.
And a kidney.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, shipping that board to Canada is probably $25 or $30 for something that weighs like less than 3 ounces, including the mailer.
It's less than 3 ounces, and it's $18 to ship to Canada. It's just, it's stupid. Yeah,
it's ridiculous. And the UK is probably about twice that, just because it has to get on an airplane or a boat to go across the pond. But
and we're working on UK shipment to get UK shipping local to the UK, and then Hayden's covering Australia and New Zealand so far. It's a mess. The cost of the board is $31. And it is I guess I'll just do the announcement now. Thanks a lot, this ADHD life pressuring me. It is a CM108 chip, which exposes a couple of GPIO pins. And if you're using Direwolf or All-Star, those are already supported. And if you're using something like WSJTX or JS8 Call, you can just use Vox. It'll do audio in and out to the radio, and then it will do PTT, and it will do carrier operated squelch, so that if someone is talking and your radio is busy, you can't talk through
Yep.
All Star. So it's not gonna try and double up on a transmit at the same time. Can you connect it to an Android phone? You can. So you can use an app like FT8CN to connect to your QRP rig and do FT8 park activations from the field. And it's at this point it's meant for tinkerers, and we're developing some daughter boards to go onto it. And once you get the board in hand, you'll be able to make your own daughter board or make your own wiring connections or whatever. The first one that we have set up is for the 6-pin mini DIN radio standard that you can get on ICOM's, Kenwood's, and Yaesu radios, and then you can easily adapt the bare board without that to work on any radio at all, and even stick it inside of a radio. So like those 10-meter export radios that you can hotwire to go 10, 11, 12, 15, you'll be able to drop this thing in, expose, it can be a PIAT, and expose a USB-C port on the back of those 10-meter export radios. So you can free band FT8 if you want.
Sweet. So this has got way more functionality than something like the all-in-one board, the AIOC board or that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, I mean, the AIOC board. I like it. I'm not throwing shade on anybody's product at all. The AIOC board is an STM32, which is a programmable microcontroller, and then he's got CM108 emulation, which is the audio chip that we're using.
Right.
And so he has a lot more functionality. He's got the ability to do serial data communication as well as audio data communication. We only have audio data communication. And this was originally designed to be an all-star type deal, which is why we're going to do an all-star demonstration with it today. But it can work with any radio, any mode, as long as y'all tinkerers get in there and tinker away with it. And so that's part of it, is it's going to be a real community thing, and hopefully get some of us back into tinkering and figuring out what value of resistors and capacitors we need and so on. The second daughter board that we're going to have for it is going to be a prototyping breadboard interface, so you'll have the ability to cobble your own circuit on top of it a little bit easier.
Very cool. I'm looking forward to seeing what everybody does with that. And a couple people are already plotting to design cases. Bricker and John are both WV3L John. I think he's the only John in the chat at the moment. Want to drop a case for it, so that's cool. One of the Johns. We have a lot of Johns. And I think that is about it. I've got to do a video or something on my channel, or people are going to confuse me with Joe Brett, since we're both in the South. Anyway, I'm going to hit the button. Y'all, thank you very much for being here. Thanks for joining the channel. All the new members, thank you for the super chats, everybody. And you guys have a great week, and we'll see you next Sunday morning. Have a blessed radio day. Button engaged.